Hi, James here. Just jumping in to say welcome to Season 2 of Live to Die. We'll be playing 2nd Edition Pathfinder, just like we did in the first season, but we're going to be starting Paizo's Kingmaker adventure path. It's an awesome adventure path, a famous one at that, and a pretty big one, so I'm sure we'll have to break it up into several seasons. I'm really excited to share with you a few of the episodes we already have recorded. It was so much fun to start working on this, and I can't wait to share it with all of you. Season 1 was an absolute dream come true for all of us, really. Getting to play through the whole adventure was so much fun, and sharing it with all of you somehow made it even better, which is to say it was great. I didn't think it'd be better, and then getting to talk about it with all of you online or in messages just made the whole thing feel so much fun. I just can't get over it. I wanted to say a big thank you to our patrons who help support the podcast, do things like cover our hosting fees, and help us with things like equipment. As a part of that, each month we are going to be shouting out one of our patrons at the called shot level or higher. So this month, a big thank you to Rice. Thanks for supporting the podcast. If you're interested in supporting us, you can always review and rate us on whatever podcast app you're using. And if you want to join us in the Patreon, that's patreon.com/live-to-die-pod, patreon.com/LIVETODIEPOD. However you choose to support us, and honestly, just taking the time to listen is an awesome form of support. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Roll dice, be nice, and stay tuned. This is the Live to Die podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the second season of our Live to Die podcast.
Yay!
We'll be beginning an endeavor of pure hubris. We will be cracking the, let me heft this tome up here, the 627-page Kingmaker adventure path.
You didn't tell me that
How
first.
many?
Wait,
That's-
we're doing,
sorry,
we're doing
what?
what?
627 pages.
How many pages was Grey Death?
I have it over there, but it's I think it's like 100.
The good news is that Jared actually has memorized the entire thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've played through the whole thing. So
Cool.
just kidding. Just kidding.
Which we will be calling, while we play it, Die on the Throne.
Yes.
It's such a good
Love it.
I'm really stoked about that name. So you have heard all of our voices already, but let's take a second, because someone may have just jumped straight to season 2. Some people watch shows like that.
Maniacs.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
Crazy
that's a
people.
bad.
Go back.
Can't shut this off. Go back to the first
We
season.
don't even know if this one's going to be good, but the last one was for sure good. So
Yeah.
definitely listen.
Yeah,
You know what? Go back, start it at season 1,
We'll wait.
listen to it.
we're gonna make so many references that you won't understand.
But so hopefully one
That's
thing you
probably
can
true.
understand quickly is us. I'm James. I'm going to be your game master, at least for now, while we play. You may know me from things such as Live to Die Season 1. My Twitter, where I don't post. My
I'm Troy
TikTok,
McClure.
my TikTok, where I don't make videos. And my professional work, where I don't associate my name with any of my work.
Sure.
So you probably know me from Live to Die Season 1. Let's go around the table, though, and introduce our illustrious, multiple award-winning guests.
Mm.
You win awards, bro.
Yeah, I didn't want to tell anybody
All right.
so you
Oh,
guys
wow.
don't get jealous. But
I'm
yeah.
intimidated.
You're wearing a medal.
I'm Jason. I'm going to be playing the cleric Nikolai this game. I'm very excited. You may know me also from season 1, or I actually just became semi-famous on Twitter yesterday
Oh yes.
for
yeah.
a wonderful story I told about Nikola Jokic.
It's true.
But
read
those are
your
my
story.
2 claims to fame.
Who were you in season 1?
Oh, I was Drosharis.
Ah.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh, I miss the old characters.
AKA Knight's Wrath.
Knight's Wrath. Jared here, playing Lucky LeChance,
Ooh,
the rogue.
Oh my God, I love that name.
Thanks.
that's adorable.
Oh, lucky.
Good old Lucky.
Lucky.
And you know me from season 1 as Fox. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
We would not know you from
You have
absolutely
another
anything else.
podcast.
You literally have
Yeah,
another
you
podcast.
have. You're like
Kinda
actually
like-
more well known for your other
For the
podcast.
strong crossover of Broncos fans and tabletop role-playing
Yeah,
games.
the very strong crossover. Huge
I was gonna
crossover.
say, in the first season, I asked you prior to the Broncos season, like who was he gonna throw to, and I just want to say I think I was kind of accurate.
I don't even know what I said, to be honest.
You listed like Judy and others. Anyway,
If
I
he was
digress.
So yeah, that's Orange
Yeah.
and Brew.
Orange and Brew. Yep.
They have
Broncos
live
podcast.
shows on Thursday that are quite enjoyable.
Yeah, we're doing live shows now.
Oh, that's
pretty
awesome.
exciting.
cool.
Yeah, check that out. Listen to this show and check them out.
2:30 Mountain Standard Time.
I'm not even a
Nice.
Broncos fan, for the record, and I still listen.
I think you're the
Listening,
only
buddy.
Broncos fan at this table, and we have two other diehard football
Yeah,
fans.
it's
I don't even watch football.
Which is why if you ever see us live tweeting about recording this fall, it will only be on Saturdays and never Sundays.
Jane, I think that
until
makes you
the
a
end of the
Cowboys
season
fan.
when the playoffs are about to start. And then we
Yeah.
might just have to record on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I am Trent, or Trenton, if you want.
Why did you
I-
say it
The only
like
person with not a J name on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ton of Trent.
him
I
off.
will be playing Biff, the kobold fighter.
Ooh.
And I played Watson Himmelgale in
Yes.
season 1.
Oh, I miss Watson.
Where might people know Trent from?
Season
Season 1 of Live to Die?
if you have a distinct interest in world affairs, you can follow me on Twitter. That's pretty much it, I think.
And
Also-
Season 1.
And
Yeah.
your focus on Oklahoma and Greeley are
Yeah, if you want to
Enjoyable to
know who is from Oklahoma originally, I will gladly tell you.
Now, from what I understand, that's
Known
not
for Oklahoma
unique,
facts.
exclusively unique to you, because almost every person I've ever met from Oklahoma is ready to just let anyone know when any famous thing or person has an Oklahoma connection.
It's all we have.
All right.
that and the Tiger King.
Yeah.
You know he's from Oklahoma?
There's go back to season 1 because I have a whole explanation of Tiger King.
So many reasons to go back to season 1. I'm Jane. I'm in this season playing Ariadne Vex, the human Aasimar swashbuckler. And you can also hear me as Valentine de Castel in season 1, which was super fun and great.
Awesome.
You're what's the name? Ariadne?
Ariadne Vex.
I'm definitely intentionally messing that up the entire season.
I think she's going to go by Ari to keep it simple.
Ooh,
Uh,
nice.
I kind of wanted to go, I was trying to think of a good name that incorporated Cal so I could have Val, Cal, Mal,
Sal.
Pal, Sal, like going forward. Maybe my backup character,
Pal.
Pal. Yeah,
Also, Jane has a book.
I do.
Yeah.
I do have a book,
Mm-hmm.
but we
That-
can talk about that on the other podcast.
No, that's what else are you known for besides Val?
Oh, yes. I also am known for Women's Art Wednesday, which is a blog about women artists. And we have a book featuring 52 women artists in history.
It's a pretty dope book.
It's great.
It is a very good book. Very beautiful interior.
Trent designed
Oh.
the interior of the book.
That's the only other thing I'm known for.
Also known as a page designer for Women's Art Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, we won't dig into too much of that because we have 626 pages. We actually made it through the first page. The first page was just about all of
You
you.
gotta
Oh,
stop
great.
saying that, man.
Yeah, it's really stressing me out, actually.
And before we jump in to Kingmaker, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping for you, the players, and all of you, our listening fans. Kingmaker was originally set, and if I remember correctly, 4710 AR, which because I think it came out just about 12 to 13 years ago originally when Paizo wrote it. Paizo has republished Kingmaker in a revised and updated edition, updated to second edition Pathfinder. What I'll also say, if you're one of the listeners who's a big fan of 5e D&D, they also did a remaster of Kingmaker and an associated bestiary that allows you to play all of Kingmaker in 5e D&D. So if this sounds fun to you, and what I'll say is Kingmaker is an amazing book. Everything I've read in it, everyone I've talked to who's played it has said, yeah, there's going to be some big story points that people will share, but everyone's journey through this AP is probably one of the most unique and customized journeys of the players of any adventure written by Paizo. And like, they write adventures. Them and their freelancers do unquestionably some of the best epic scale work that exists in the industry today.
sure.
And frankly has for the last 20 years. But I'm making some changes to this. One of the important things that I want to let people know, because this will be a significant shift from the background in Kingmaker, is I'm going to set our story in about 4722 to 4723 AR. So what this means is that it'll be about 10 years after Kingmaker would have originally taken place. And that also means that a lot of the important world events are a little different. No longer is there the crusade up against the Scar, the demon Scar. That's closed. Now, there's still a lot of crusaders that are dealing with what to do after there, and they're sort of coming back from those crusades. It does mean that Tar-Baphon has come back and was defeated, but is still back. So that whole shit's going on. There's a lot. So the Whispering Way is a different thing. That shouldn't have a huge impact on the direct story beats of our story, because what we're talking about is in a part of the world that's a little isolated from everything else, especially when we get into the stolen lands. But I wanted to give that note.
I just wanted to also say that Kingmaker is also a video game.
Yes,
correct?
it is. Yeah, it's a phenomenal video game. Hashtag not a sponsor, just a great game. Owlcat Games has adapted 2 Pathfinder adventure paths, Kingmaker and Wrath of the Righteous. I think they're both on console now as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Stupidly good, great games. Check them out if you feel like this is what you're into. And what I'll say is, sure, the earlier beats are going to have some similarities, but really quickly our story will become vastly different. So that's the first thing I want to let people know. So there might be some weird inconsistencies and a little bit of canon lore as I move some timeline pieces around. The second is we are implementing a house rule. One of our first. I've talked to only a couple of you about this.
I don't know.
Jane can't roll above 10.
Hey,
No.
I wouldn't anyway.
I don't even make a house rule for that.
All right. Already? Come on. You know what?
Beautiful.
Rude.
Thank you to my friend Sherman, who made all of these drops for us. They are incredible.
Fuck
Shout
you,
out to
Sherman.
Yeah. So this other house rule is actually something that Trent kind of drew to my attention about a year or so ago, and I really liked it. It wasn't great for our first season, but I think for this show, it's really excellent. So we're going to see how this goes. There might be some tweaking, but death saves are going to change a little bit. You're still going to make them, but what I would like, and this is because at this point I have implicit trust in all 4 of you.
We got him.
The long con.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We got him.
When it's your time to roll a death roll it, keep it to yourself and note it down. Because I think there is better drama when it isn't like, oh God, our friend just was cut down to the ground. He's probably fine. Let's finish this fight.
He's making his death saves. He's fine.
Right. We can see but on the look on his face, he seems to be making his death saves.
And so I think from my point of view, realistically, you may have to leave them, but I like the tension of not knowing if you're having to leave someone to die to stay alive or not. The one thing
That's
I
a
am
good one.
considering...
Just got real,
That's a good
huh?
one.
Yeah, it's a good
Woo.
one. No pressure, cleric. And
Right.
the second part to that, because I don't want it to just be a silent turn of like, well, we record the
Trent
real
just
world.
left. He didn't like the.
That was me on my
Was it his
motorcycle.
idea?
That's a motorcycle sound, right? Not just
Yeah,
the crazy
close
frog bit. So the second part to that is when it gets to your turn, because I don't want you to just be like, well, okay, next turn. I'd like when you make a death save, and this is where I'm going to have to ask for like a little bit of grace as we figure out the timing on this. Keep it short. Give me something that's flashing through your head when your character is making a death save. Maybe it's not your whole life, obviously. We still have to keep the turns moving, but like a thought, a feeling, a memory, a goal or something. Keep us engaged at the table a little bit. That's my house rule for this season.
Does that change
Ooh.
the use of hero points at all? Patches
Nope.
to stabilize.
Nope, you can still totally use them for that.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, like that's the one nice thing. It's a hero point. You're like, I'm going to use a hero point to stabilize. That's open information. Everyone's like, okay, they used a hero point. But that's a hero point.
Yeah.
And as we know, I don't just hand those out at the start of every recording session.
you
I
have
was
to
going to
use-
ask if
you
you'd
have to
hand
use
some out at the beginning of the game.
I have a moment in the beginning of the story beat when I'm going to hand them out.
Oh, cool. Sorry to
and
ruin
you have
your-
to use all of your hero points to stabilize.
You have to use all remaining. Or you
Oh
can
my
always
God,
use
really?
it to instantly stabilize. You can always spend a hero point to re-roll a death save.
Wait, do you have to have 3 hero points in order to do that? Or would
No, you just
No.
just
But
like
if you
whatever
have 3,
you
you have
have?
to use 3.
Yeah.
Ah,
If you have 1, you use 1. If you have somehow 50, you use all 50.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Steep.
I like it.
we can't get more than 3 at a time,
You
right?
can't.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
It's like in the rules. In the rules, it says you.
He's not
you
gonna give
can't,
you 3.
But like, come on. you
Okay,
know?
here's a little peek behind the curtain over here. in season 1, I played a very cynical, dark character who was sassy and mean all the time.
Herself,
And
she pretty much played herself.
well, and I was like, oh,
Hey,
I'm
that's
gonna.
sexist.
I was like, I'm gonna switch it up in this season and be like nice and lovable. And now, you know what? Sassy's back.
You're an angel or something, right?
Sassy.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm a mean angel.
Sassy angel.
Hey, we're not following that deterministic kind of thing. Maybe the angel is an asshole.
That's true.
Fallen angel.
Yes, Trenton.
Can we mention that that 2 people at the table got married this summer?
Hell yeah.
Oh,
How can we forget?
Me and Jason.
It was beautiful.
it was so gorgeous.
They got married.
Dope.
It was beautiful. I had a blast. That was like some of the most fun I had in a
wonderful.
weekend.
Yeah.
Not trying to rub it in your face, Jared.
I know.
your family was sick.
I'm sad.
Jared had strep.
But I mean, like, I'm already planning another trip to Salida. It was so much fun.
It was really fun. And
beautiful.
And
City.
for the record, that was James and Jane that got married.
yes.
Yeah.
Since no one really actually said it.
Established.
beautiful.
There are people like, did Trent and Jason really get married? I thought they were married already.
A lot has happened since the last season. Yeah, no, that was fun. That was an exciting bit of our personal life.
Well,
And we might get divorced if this game goes badly. So.
Can we have a dance party at the divorce like we did at the wedding?
Yeah,
I will
absolutely.
say-
I still have blisters, by the way, and it's been a while.
Well,
I was sore for a bit.
yeah.
Mhm.
It would be an amazing court hearing of a divorce proceeding if they were like, and what reason are you listing for your divorce? And you were like, our Pathfinder game got really emotional and intense.
Really
The
devolved.
judge is a GM and he's like, all right, 50-50 split. This is over.
I'm pretty
roll a
sure
D20.
I'm going to roll a DC 15 marriage.
we weren't even married yet. And in the first season, I'm pretty sure at one point in the lesser death fight, I was like, do people get divorced over Pathfinder? Does this happen?
I remember that.
So congrats to you two.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Everyone
How long
go
were you-
send James things on Twitter congratulating him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
money.
Jane has made the very intelligent decision. Someone asked at one point, they were a really nice fan. They reached out and they're like,
saw
I
that.
think I followed everyone on Twitter that I could from the cast. Does Jane really intelligently not have a Twitter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
For someone who likes to sass, not having a Twitter account's
It's a
interesting
dangerous
choice.
tool in my hands. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
That would be true. That would be true.
You might have to do a burner account.
Yeah. Who says I don't? Mm.
Oh.
All right.
You're
Well,
that troll.
That would just be the biggest giveaway of all time. Just like
Just
every
shit
tweet you
talking
post.
Oklahoma.
Shut up, Trent.
Every time, every post.
Is that person from Oklahoma?
well, ready to jump into a new adventure?
Let's go.
How's everyone feeling about the math?
Oh, much
Oh.
easier.
I'm so excited.
Actually, I
easier.
feel worse about it because I feel like I had a really good excuse for being bad at math in the last season. I was like, 16th level. But now it's going to be, yeah. Terrible math. Yeah, it's going to be terrible math without the shield of big numbers.
I'm not. There's no hope for me, so I'll just let you know now.
It's all good. Well, like I said, we got 25 episodes of role playing to start with, so that'll be a little lighter on the combat rolls, but plenty of other checks because it's still Pathfinder. And
God, I love our drops so much.
I do too. But we've now hit 3 before we even started the game, so I should probably get into that. So
Sherman's really cool, though.
Sherman's dope.
Quick question right before we start.
Yeah.
You use a sound system for ambient music, right? Can you explain what that is?
Oh yeah, and we have it. We have the tags in the end, but you are going to hear some awesome stuff from Syrinscape. They are absolutely amazing. I think I've used them online in my games with you a couple times, Trent. I know Jason, you used them when we met initially in some of our games.
I use them, in person. I put it up on the TV and it sounds.
That's
great.
awesome.
And again,
Syrinscape.
we're not sponsored by them. We just really like them.
I
Yeah.
used Syrinscape to play the Quacks of Quedlinburg the other day.
Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
that's
Put on
fun.
market sounds and we played Quacks. And
That
I was
is
like,
such
this
a good board
perfect.
game.
That's so fun.
If you want to see the sounds that we use, they have it all really wonderfully figured out. We plug them that they're always in the end of our episode that Trent wonderfully recorded for us. And then there's actually a list. If you hear any sounds you like in the show, you can follow the credits in the show notes and it'll show you the exact sounds that we have picked out for use in at least this part of the campaign.
Do they have a Kingmaker sound set?
No, I did some digging into their forums and they're like, look, here's the deal. Kingmaker is going to get so bespoke to the
Yeah.
parties playing
Yeah,
it
yeah,
that we
yeah.
just can't do it. And
That's
also
fair.
like everything we have there falls broadly into the realm
Right.
of fantasy stuff that we kind of have.
I know that when I played the Sandpoint one,
Rise of the Rune
Rise
Lords.
of the
Rise of the
yeah,
Rune
yeah.
Lords, they have a soundscape specific to that. And it's cool
It's awesome.
throughout, but at the beginning when you're doing the Swallowtail Festival and all that,
Yeah.
those sounds are so clutch. That sounds fun.
Yeah,
That's fun.
they have a lot, not just at this point. They've really branched out. They've got some Cyberpunk 2070, like Cyberpunk Red ones. They've got some Call of Cthulhu, some Dungeons and Dragons specific adventures, some Kobold Press ones. So like
Nice.
you can buy
Perfect.
specific sound sets. You can also like
dad writes
sub
for.
to you can also sub to like their thing to just get all their sound sets sort of in perpetuity as long as your subs up. And so like if you are running a campaign that has some source stuff, check it out because it's awesome. I remember we were running Fall of Plaguestone. They even had like one of the villains' monologues recorded, which we were not ready for because we pressed play and we freaked out when someone was yelling at us from the speakers. But let's focus now on the Broken Lands in northeastern Avestan. It's a rainy night.
That's a great song.
The Broken Lands are... Let's just talk for a second because I really want to set the stage about what the Broken Lands are. Broken Lands are a really interesting part of Avestan. Scarcity defines the Broken Lands. Most of the terrain is non-arable. Small cities lay scattered throughout it. The few people that are there have lived hard lives and are fiercely self-sufficient.
It's Oklahoma.
Yeah. Survival is a constant battle that leaves little time for less pressing concerns. Still checking out with Oklahoma?
Yep.
Okay. Countries in this region lack the prestigious artistic, academic, and cultural institutions that empires to the south enjoy. But they also lack the extreme inequality and social rigidity that can hobble advancement in those lands. Here, a person's fate is in their own hands, and destiny is for the bold to forge.
Oklahoma, where the
Brevoy.
This whole campaign is living on Tulsa time right now.
So we're specifically going to go to the southern area of the nation of Brevoy. Brevoy is a really interesting place. It's the fertile regions of Rostland, is now two nations conglomerated into the modern-day state of Brevoy in northeastern Avestan, known for its master swordsmen, proud, defiant citizenry. Rostland stands on the verge now of civil war. Its northern neighbor, Isaiah, which has gained political control of the region ever since the disappearing of Brevoy's royal house some 20-some years ago at this point. As we begin to join our adventurers, I want to read with you 3 quotes. I did an opening scene at the beginning of our last season, but today I just want to give you the words of 3 people who've lived in this world before. The Eldori sword lords arose when famed swordsman Baron Syrian Eldori agreed to train a select group of pupils in his dueling techniques. They ruled Rostland for generations after the sword baron won the lands from the bandit lord in a duel. From A Brief History of Rostland by Ordero Julis. Each is as prickly and as impulsive as the Order's founder. Eldori's sword lords are some of the finest blade masters in the Inner Sea, and some of the most prideful and driven bastards you'll ever have to deal with. Corda Mammon, Caravaner. The so-called Stolen Lands, an enormous swath of wilderness wedged between Brevoy and the River Kingdoms. For years it has resisted attempts at settlement. Excerpt from the Journal of Thinton Bato, a Pathfinder initiate. But where we start our adventure tonight is on the steps leading up to a great hall, a cobblestone path bordered by regal oak trees and well-manicured hedges, winds its way up a hill for nearly a mile, past a 2-story guard barracks, stables, a dozen thatch-roofed cottages that house the families of the manor's servants and retainers. All along this trail are a pretty generous number of people lined up to work their way into the manor house. And the 4 of you at the very end of the line as the storm is coming in and the rain's pouring down on your heads. So let's start with describing the 4 characters we see. Jason, you wanna take lead? Who do we see when the camera kind of pans up your character?
You see a dark-haired character. It's rather tall, slim build, long ponytail that's braided down the back of his head and down his back, but his sides are shaved. And along the sides of his head are tattoos of stag antlers.
Ooh.
He's carrying a bow and has his hood up, just trying to stay out of the rain, but he doesn't seem to be bothered by the weather. He seems pretty content to just be standing outside. Oh, nice.
Your first hero patch.
Amazing, amazing.
Camera will pan over. Jared, who's standing next to... I've got the names here. I'm going to have to learn them all again. Nikolai.
You see a human,
Okay.
like a deep amber colored skin, really tight spiral hair that kind of comes down past his jawline. That's like golden-y.
Ooh.
And leathers. Pretty modest, dress, but he does have a cloak pulled up also. And he's just watching.
All right. Pass this one down. Trent, standing next to this human, standing next to who we know as players to be Lucky.
Lucky.
The camera has to pan vertically way down.
So it goes over, there's nothing, then it pans down.
Right. There is a kobold who is standing with a trident in his hand and a shield in the other hand. With his hood up as well, green scales along him, and a stinger on the end of his tail.
Ooh.
Cool. And he's just kind of like looking at the rain, like, his name is Biff.
Let's pass this down to Trent. All right,
And-
Jane, who do we see?
Walking up behind Biff is a young woman, probably about 17 or 18 on the younger side. Like long, wavy brown hair, wearing a cloak, like hood up, kind of staying out of the rain, and dressed pretty, like practically, with a kukri at her side. And also, though, has like a few little flares, like little like jewels and like jeweled earrings and stuff like that. And walks up and just goes, "Biff!" Kind of kicks him in the back.
Yeah.
How you doing, you little kobold?
Got ourselves a downpour.
Here's a patch for you, Jane. You
Thank
all start
you.
with 1. So now, do any of your characters know each other already?
Mine does not.
Okay.
Neither does mine.
I believe that Ariadne has encountered Biff previously.
So each of you came here. There was a call for heroes, which is a classic as far as Pathfinder stuff goes, and not an entirely uncommon occurrence. This call for heroes promises great and perilous opportunity to claim an equally heroic award. This call has reached the ears of mercenaries and would-be heroes from all over, and it has drawn all of you to the manor state, the city of Restov, to the manor of Lady Jamandi Aldori, one of the famed Aldori swordslords. So all of you are in line. As you start getting closer, the hilltop manor, you can see it itself. It's a sprawling 3-story structure built out of light gray mortared stone, surrounded by hedge-lined rose gardens and ancient oak trees. You work your way in, and as you're finally getting your way to the front of the line as it works its way in, a couple of guards come to you, sort of look. Heroes, here for the call.
What was that now?
Are you here for the call for heroes?
You're here for the wall?
Call for heroes.
Oh. Yeah, I think so.
I'm here for the free food.
There's plenty of that, but it comes with quite a bit of an ask for work as well. Suppose yours just as good as the rest, then? All right, 4 of you come with me. There should be room down near one of these tables for you. Brings you in to a great hall, and you can see that this spacious hall has been prepared for a great feast. Servants hustle and bustle about. Several armed soldiers, looks like the house guards you suspect of Lady Jamandi, watch over the hall from positions to the east and west walls. On the north, a large fire crackles in a large fireplace, and an iron lever, secured by a lock of some kind, you see adorns the fireplace's eastern face. 2 massive crystal chandeliers hang from the ceiling 20 feet above you, and the walls are decorated with painted murals of idyllic woodland scenes, nymphs frolicking amid waterfalls, satyrs dancing with fawns in wooded glades, and all sorts of various winged fairy creatures flitting through the trees. But really, most prominent of all are 9 long tables arranged around the central portion of the room, each holding plates and utensils, mugs, goblets, all full and ready to be poured pitchers of ale, wine, mead, and water. You can smell as you walk through the door roasted meat and other delicious scents starting to fill the room from food that hasn't even been served yet. What do you do?
Fancy.
Ariadne swipes a glass of ale off the table and just starts drinking it.
Okay.
Nikolai's going to go and find an appropriate table to sit at.
The guards are kind of bringing you over. There is a little bit of space left on one of the tables. The rest at this point seems pretty full. And there's already tons of other people in there. The storm outside is growing stronger and starting to rage as it's coming down. But inside, there's a minstrel playing and food being served.
Garçon, your most fancy wine, please.
The wine's on the table, lad.
Oh,
we don't speak Galtish here.
Oh, pardon moi.
And sure enough, there is a big pitcher of wine, and there's quite a few other kind of people at the table who kind of look over at you at the exchange. No food out yet, but plenty of drink. Does anyone else grab anything to drink?
Yeah, Lucky grabs an ale, tries to find somewhere to sit.
There's space. Unfortunately, you are sort of stuck near these other 3. And there's a few other characters at the table. You see a rather large woman, a dwarf, looks like a gnome or 2 who's all at the table already kind of chatting with each other idly.
He'll kick his feet up onto the table, take a big drink and look around and be like, so which one of you are heroes?
And this like ripped woman kind of looks over. Hero is just a fancy name for someone who kills someone else and wins.
That's one way to put it.
Wow, we really got a cherry one over here, huh?
No, it's a great thing. It's the best. And just like downs half a flagon of mead.
Well, ma'am, remind me to not get on your bad side.
Yeah. All my sides are bad sides to my enemies.
Well, I will not become an enemy.
Excellent.
Ariadne is done with her first glass, sits it down, and plucks whatever Biff has in his hand out of his hands and just starts drinking it.
What? Well, that's all right. I probably deserve that.
Nikolai hands you his and pours himself another ale, and he's like, at least you are inside now and not being rained on.
Yeah, at least a duck got water off its back, huh?
I believe that is a good thing, yes.
And it's kind of about this moment. You've only had a chance to be seated for a minute or two when the minstrel sort of dies down. Minstrel none of you've ever seen before.
All right.
I was like, not already.
Beef. And
Beef.
What?
the hush kind of falls over the room as a striking half-elven woman enters through one of the doors, followed by an aristocratic, middle-aged human man. The man's wearing really well-made, finely tailored clothing, fit for a noble, and the woman seems dressed ready for battle. wearing a fine leather coat over a sparkling mail shirt. At her hip, though, hangs a very distinctive single-blade curved sword. Bright silver pommel gleaming as she walks over, and the two make their way over to the head table where they stay standing. Now, is anyone trained in society, or does anyone have any like local knowledges?
Yes.
I'm trained in society, yes.
And me as well.
For society, or do you
Correct.
specific knowledges?
Society, yeah.
You know what? I'll go ahead and keep this open for now. Why don't both of you give me a knowledge check?
I'm also trained in society.
Yeah, give me some society checks.
It's pretty good.
Jane, how does it feel to not be the go-to society
Seriously,
person?
Yeah.
it's kind of weird.
What are you rocking, Jason?
I am rocking a 21.
Wow.
Okay.
18.
Okay.
That's a gentleman's 11.
Well, it's probably you then, Nikolai, who like has some connections here. You would recognize, and you can kind of piece this together, that the lady is Jamandi Aldori. Like, not a hard pick. You would also recognize that the blade at her side is one of the Aldori dueling swords, like sort of famous for that. Now, the man next to her is a little, well, perhaps not as widely known as stories, but to anyone who's locally involved, just as important. He's the Lord Mayor of Restov, one Yosef Selimus. And it's kind of at that point that you just had time to clock both of them and recognize it, that Yosef opens his mouth first. Greetings, heroes. I am Yosef Selimus, which I guess you could have waited to find out, but you knew ahead of time. Lord Mayor of Restov, and this, he gestures to the woman beside him, is Lady Jamandi Aldori. We both thank you for answering our call for heroes. You may be few, but we need only the best for this greatest task. Lady Jamandi offers the room a broad smile, sort of taking half a step forward as she speaks. South of here, beyond Brevoy's border, lies the Stolen Lands. This disputed territory has been claimed time and time again by would-be settlers, but because the area has been a haven for bandits and monsters, it's never been held for long. Restov intends for this to change. If you have enough courage to drive off the dangerous denizens of the Stolen Lands, you can seize territory for yourselves and name yourselves baronesses or barons. Restov, us here, we intend to recognize your legitimacy of the rule of the land that you take, and none of the other neighboring realms will care enough to challenge you. We're prepared to provide you with backing as trade partners and a military ally. If you claim the land, you will have indeed all of Restov's support. And at that, she sort of brings her fist down, not angrily, but just punctuating the point. You realize that with her hand on the table, it slides forward, grabs a gauntlet, and she lifts it up into the air. But the details of your individual missions and charters into the Stolen Lands can wait. For now, I raise my glass to you, brave heroes. For now, let us eat and enjoy the evening. Tomorrow promises to be a very busy day. And the crowd kind of roars. Yeah! Glasses chink and come down, and the bard starts back up playing, and it all the food is coming out. First course comes out, crisp greens, lightly flavored with savory oils, like a nice salad. Delivered to all.
Hell is this?
Ariadne looks at Nikolai and is like, I'm just here for the free drinks, and winks.
Here, have mine.
She takes it.
And Nikolai starts like refilling everyone's glass as he starts talking. He's like, my name is Nikolai of House Miedviet.
Oh.
And you notice when he says that, he has really nicely adorned and taken care of, like leathers on. He takes his cloak off, and you can kind of see, I am a healer for the family, and I typically take care of refugees. There are so many in this area. But I don't know. It's not normal for an Erasto cleric to want to seek adventure, but there is no chance that I am ever going to be head of my household.
I was going to say not in line of succession. Huh?
So I believe that I could do some help in these broken lands. What brings you here? And he refills your glass, Ari.
I'm just looking
feller.
to have. I'm just looking to have a good time, make some money. Takes a drink. How about you, little kobold?
How about you let me keep my own motivations to myself? Thank you very much.
Well, that sounds suspicious.
Yeah.
And you?
Yeah, I'm just checking it out, just seeing what opportunities come up. Got to take advantage of the wealthier types. If they're giving me free food, I'll show up at least.
Now you I like.
Thank you.
Well, if it is food and shelter, my house is always open if you are in need.
Okay. Pass though.
Fair enough.
You see a kind of overhearing this conversation sitting at your table. You see a tall man, broad jaw, sort of a darker olive complexion skin, his hair swept back. It's a little bit older. His hair is starting to form a little bit of a peak. He has nice leathers adorned with like touches of silver at the edge, a heavy cloak and belt, and you can see a sword belt at his side. Actually, you know what? Because we're all into this and we have the ability to do it. Let's see if I can hit the right button here.
Oh, nice.
Who wants to describe this guy?
He looks like Timothy Dalton.
Ooh,
Ooh,
I
I
thought
think
he
so.
kind of looked like Jamie Lannister. with
Yeah,
dark hair.
totally. Yep.
He does kind of look like if Jaime Lannister was embracing his dark side.
Was
Totally.
not fucking his sister.
He's got a very big
That's
sword.
kind of the dark side I was referring to. He has a huge sword
It
and
is
he
a
has
big
this
sword.
really dope black armor.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it is pretty cool.
His hair could be better. I'll just say that.
What's in his hand?
He's definitely got a widow's peak.
His hair has big, like,
It's a quill.
American
wow.
Psycho
Yeah, like
feeling to
Oh,
it.
way
that's-
too much
It's
gel.
Christian Bale and American Psycho.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
With a very long cape.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
if he was medieval.
Avastani Psycho?
Yeah.
Avastani
So
Psycho.
I already know how all of you feel about him.
And
Yeah.
we kill him.
These are appearances only. Okay.
So he extends a hand specifically to you, Nikolai. And he says, I see as well, the out-of-succession son of a family, I understand. My name is Magar.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Magar. My name is Nikolai Medved.
Well, I suppose I should respond with my family name as well. I'm, Magar Varn. I'm kind of gestures down to his sword, trying to make my own name outside of my family for myself as I can here, but, well, doesn't matter. You know, when you stand outside of inheriting your family's title, you do what you can to make your own name. So,
And hopefully bring honor to your house at the same time.
yes, well, or perhaps make a house my own worth making here. Tell me, how did you come into the service of Erastil?
As I have been saying before, I take care of refugees, and this, I guess, word of mouth came into where I treat everyone, and I am capable, and I figured, why not?
It's nice. Did you have any idea what you think you'll do with your land? I count myself lucky as it is. Perhaps it's my time with the blade, but I've already been assigned to the Gnomon Heights. I'll have the plans laid out. A new village, Varnhold. Yeah, have it drawn up back at my home. But, well, sorry, it's all about me. What are you thinking you'll be doing?
I don't know. I mean, I would love to have some longhouses for people to come and feast and be and have a place out of the elements. But it's hard for me to imagine starting my own lands. I'm here to help.
That's very noble of you.
Well, I am a noble of House Midgett.
Biff, like, elbows Lucky, and he's like, Varnhold, more like Barnhold.
Right. Must be really tough being rich and born third in your
Oh,
family.
man.
So, let's talk a little bit about some of the first dice rolling we're going to get to do.
Ooh.
One of the things that I love about Kingmaker is that there is so much opportunity for the story to really grow based on the interactions you have with NPCs in the story that I make up, that other players help with. Now, one thing that I think is nice is a lot of quick and dirty role-playing and Pathfinder can come down to your diplomacies and your intimidates. there is a wonderful mechanic in the Game Master's Guide called influence. And that's what the book highly recommends us using because, as we all know from our own personal experience, being charming is not enough to make friends sometimes. There's a lot more about finding shared personal interests and connections. So the influence system is a way for us to look at having sort of deeper interactions based around what people are into. And there's really two actions you need to keep in mind for influence. And that's a discovery role, which is you can watch or study an NPC to learn more about their preferences. You can choose an NPC and attempt either a perception check, or often there's certain skills based on how they're presenting in the world and interacting with the world that can help you learn a little bit more about them. If you fail, you get nothing. If you critically fail, you get an incorrect piece of information about what they're into. So this will be a secret check.
Amazing.
If you succeed, you can learn like what skills might help you influence them, because diplomacy's there, but maybe you have a shared interest that can really help you build that relationship. Then if you crit, you can learn some detailed things about what they're into, or maybe some things. So most people have as well preferences that give you bonuses or penalties on these checks. So we just jumped a little bit into role playing, but you did kind of do a little bit of a read. I feel like all of you did. Just for the sake of keeping this moving, we'll do this first one open so we can all learn the rule a little bit, and so that I don't have to keep 4 separate stats in mind. But anyone who wants to can give me a discovery check, if you will, about Magar to learn a little more about it. No, of course, any of you could just try to straight up sense motive. But anyone who wants to could give me a society, perception, or maybe we'll stick with those two for now. A society or perception check to sort of pull some stuff. Well, I did say he has some designs on his outfit. So society, perception, or occultism.
Can I share something about my character just because I think it's fun? I have a background that gives me a -1 when on diplomacy regarding nobles. So anytime I'm trying to
that's awesome.
Noble, I have a negative diplomacy.
For the record,
I'm just putting that out there.
I did not tell anyone at the table that I was a noble either. So the fact that you have that is just so. That's gonna
I
be fun.
mean, it would open disdain already.
We have a noble and an anti-noble.
And what I'll say, Jason, and this is the thing, they have, for influence stats, they have weaknesses and resistances. So, Jason, take a +1 on this.
Okay.
Because he does engage in a very noble way.
Okay.
So, what skill did you roll and what did you get, Jason?
I rolled a society.
Okay.
And I rolled a big fat 11 total.
Okay. So, no particular insight into what he might be into or not.
I'm more taken aback by this gentleman who seems to hate me, and I just met him.
Jared, what'd you rock?
I don't know if it matters, but
Sure.
I'm using perception, and I'm
Okay.
an expert in perception.
Okay.
But I rolled a 9.
Okay. He's a noble. Fuck
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah, I'm not really interested.
Biff is also an expert in perception, which he rolled and got a 24.
Oh, baby.
Okay. So I think you're going to pick up on a pretty straightforward one. And I think I'm going to relate something to you. In some of the conversation that you've overheard while you're sitting down, he has been talking a little bit about like historic battles. The same way that we always joke that like every dad gets into World War II at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like that. So you're like, oh, I think he might be into that. You picked up on that. What? I almost called you Val. Ari, what did you roll?
A 10 in perception.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on. You're in your cups a little.
I actually think that she isn't really paying attention because she's trying to swipe like just little things from people, do some light pickpocketing as people walk by. But like particularly on like anyone who seems like wealthy or rich, like any noble that, but maybe even this guy, she's just like whoop, taking little things.
Okay. So now that that's kind of in place, you can make a guess, but you don't know what the right skills might be here. But you're starting to talk with this guy a little bit, Jason. Here's one thing I like. A lot of these make some narrative sense. So Trent Biff knows warfare lore. You may not know that, but what kind of skill do you want to make to try to make an impression
He
on
does
this
know
guy?
warfare lore, actually. He's trained in warfare lore.
I thought you might be.
Yeah.
Religion? Could I use religion to influence him?
You can certainly try, but whether or not that's on his list you
Oh,
won't
you already
know.
told us. Did you tell us the things that were on his list?
Right
No.
now,
No.
all you know for sure is warfare lore. And obviously he has like some interest in like, you know, he's talked a little bit about some of the shared experience of being a noble or things like that. What I will say is blanketly, you could just try to do a diplomacy check to
Yeah,
just
what
respect
I'll
his
do.
station.
That's what I'll do.
Okay.
It's like a mini game.
Oh, yeah.
You like learn the little traits about him to try and influence him. I like that.
So while Jason's rolling this, I'm also going to say Kingmaker is an expansive game. There's probably going to be some benefits for you, the players, figuring out who's going to take on some different kinds of note-taking responsibilities. There's a few key things to keep in mind for note-taking that I might recommend breaking up. There will be all sorts of people and personalities. There will be all sorts of enemies and threats. There will be mini and side quests. And there will be things that eventually, when you get to start a kingdom, will confront your kingdom. So talk about that later. What'd you roll for your diplomacy, Jason?
12.
Well, you don't insult him. You put it on a little too heavily and sort of like, look, there's no. I understand that I've done well for myself, but there's no need to mock me with your formalities. But I appreciate what I hope and I'll choose to take as a kind-hearted gesture.
I apologize. Just, killing with kindness,
No, of course, always a good choice. Perhaps at times sharper than the sword in a mead hall is the kind word.
Biff actually leans over again to Lucky and is like, this guy's spewing so much bull, he's growing horns.
Jeez.
Clearly, social encounters are not his forte.
Well, it's right.
Did you think that everyone was going to bully you today, Jason?
I knew that being a noble was going to make things interesting.
Well, it's at this point the doors open. More of the serving staff come in with the second course, a spicy seasoned waterfowl off the lakes up at this point, and it smells fucking delicious. Well cooked, a little bit of like outside to it with the nice bits of seasonings and like oils that were cooked into it. Perfectly cooked, juicy, not gamey, and it's brought out, and it's like there's got to be a whole giant goose for like every 2 people at least. Tons of food.
Keep them horse doovers coming.
This is what I came here for. Right here.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Clink.
Ping. Looking around the table, there's a few other people. And I think notably at this point, after kind of spotting that reaction, there's a small gnome who kind of looks over and introduces himself to all of you. I only caught some of your names. I'm Tartusio. What are you called again? Sorry, excuse me.
You can call me Ari.
Ari, excellent.
Addy, name's Biff.
Biff, perfect. Sort of like looks down his nose at you a little bit.
Does he have anything of value on his person?
Well, he is impeccably dressed in fine robes and silks. He looks a little more like a stately gnomish prince than a typical adventurer.
When I shake his hand, can I try to pickpocket him?
Wait, can I notice this also?
Yeah.
And if I do, can I help? Can I aid?
Oh my God.
Well,
Amazing.
first, would all of you be up for doing another little description?
Yeah,
oh, of
sure.
course.
Write
Let's
down his name too
go.
while we're at it.
Tartusio.
Oh my God, what a douche.
Man, he's like pale to start.
Yeah.
Do you remember in Guardians of the Galaxy, the guy that was trying to buy the orb in the very beginning with all the little trinkets in his little house?
do
That's
remember
kind of
that.
what he looks like.
Again, very bad hair.
He's got like little wing hair on the sides. I don't
Those
know
are
what
his
that is.
eyebrows.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's why it made me think of the guy. Best eyebrows in the
I
game.
couldn't tell that.
Let me make that bigger. No, that's about as big as it's going to
Yeah. He's got some purpley robes
get. Yeah.
and a big old book.
The expression
book.
on his face just makes me think of the manifestation of Trent's actually voice.
You big like this guy's an asshole energy.
That's probably
Yeah.
a vampire book that he's like a vampire love story that he's reading.
Uh-huh.
in that
Twilight.
book.
I'm going to
Yes.
feel bad if he ends up needing our help or being a nice dude, but that illustration does
So
not
far, we
inspire
hate
a lot
everyone.
of confidence.
I need to see his name because I'm taking name notes.
Tartusio. Tartuccio.
Artuccio.
Douchey name too.
Tartuccio.
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 Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
Well, I'm sure it's a pleasure to meet all of you.
You're sure, huh?
Oh, very. I'm
I
quite good at what I
wouldn't
do.
be so sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
Jeez. Well,
It was a pleasure to meet you.
well,
Sorry, that was rude
last
of
game.
me.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Tartuccio.
that's not even remotely right.
How do you do, sir? What are you up to these days?
What is in his pockets?
Aid.
Okay, are you just going in blind?
No, while Biff is talking to him, or like while we're all kind of like shaking his hand and like meeting him, just gonna be like, whoop, and try to like snag something off of him.
Oh, okay.
This is going to go so well.
This is
I'm gonna spill my drink on him as a distraction.
Can I call you Tartucky?
Dear gods, no, that is not even slightly appropriate. I have a name for a reason, and you'll use the entirety of it. Jesus, they let everyone in here. What? I sort of process. So go ahead and
Oh,
roll something for me as you
sorry,
spill
sorry.
the drink.
23 to aid.
All right. What's your training?
Deception.
Okay, so that'll be a +1. And Jane, what are you doing with this?
Thievery, if I can.
Yeah. And if you critically fail this, like you might be arrested.
Okay, hold on.
Oh God.
Okay,
I
hold
have
on.
to find my actual check. Hey, it's a natural 14, so
That's solid.
back off. 20 total.
Okay.
Oh, you got it.
So your hand's over there, and you're not able to get much into. You can't pick a ton, but you do pull a single gold coin
Woo!
out of one of his pockets. It's a heavy mint, not one you recognize.
Okay.
Ooh.
But you do palm a single like gold coin out of the pockets of one of his robes.
Great.
But he is sort of like leaning in and talking to you. Well, of noble blood, I'm sure you have a family backing coming into this, right?
Ah, jeez.
Yes, but I'm really here just to meet these other fine people. We just met, and they don't seem to like me very much, so I'm working on that.
I actually have no reason to hang out here. Goodbye.
Well, I mean, look how it is. You look around the room like this, and they call it a call for heroes, right? But at this point, it just seems to be catching whatever dregs drift in off the streets.
You kind of see he like leans back a little bit and looks at you, and he's like, but perhaps we don't have to make them feel like shit just for existing, no?
People are what they are. And looks kind of back over his shoulder to like go back to his food.
He looks at Lucky and he's like,
I just imagine that
Some of
Biff
us,
and
yes.
Lucky and Ari just like wave at him like, bye, having just robbed him.
Listen here, you're gonna know the name of Biff, okay? Just like walking away.
Ari's gonna like flip the gold coin over to Nikolai and be like, sorry about those two. Their bark is worse than their bite.
Oh, you got one.
he
Always
hands
a
you back
pleasure.
that coin and another one and says, by all means, keep this.
And she pockets both.
And winks at you because respect for pulling that off.
What's your society check?
My
Yeah.
society
And what are your lores? Just real quick.
hunting.
I feel vindicated, by the way. That guy was an asshole.
Oh,
Society's +3.
Yeah. Okay.
Those eyebrows were a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
After I found out they were eyebrows.
Yeah. Keeps going.
Giveaway.
He refills your glasses and he's like, I apologize for some of the people who think they are above reproach and other humanoids.
What's that word mean?
Reproach?
Yeah.
He believes he is very much better than you, and that is not true.
Gotcha.
Ari's gonna like put her arms around like Lucky and Nikolai and be like, oh, look at that. We're all friends here.
All of
Is
us?
someone driving her carriage home?
We call that hoity-toity.
That I like that term very much. Hoity-toity.
Yeah.
I shall write that down.
Yeah.
We should call you that. Hoity-toity.
Now let's not get carried away here, all right?
A Biff. That is it only Biff, or is there more?
Biff, short and sweet, just like yours truly.
And
Wow.
that
I see we are going
Wow.
to become great friends someday.
And
This is way too natural for you.
And at that, you do hear kind of another chuckle from a little bit farther down the table over here. Is that? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to entirely eavesdrop, but that's. such an interesting way to refer to yourself. Biff, how do you spell your name?
That's BIF.
Oh, I was wondering if it was 2 Fs, but I'm so glad I asked.
No, why would there be 2 Fs?
Everyone spells it differently, but I'm fascinated to learn more. It's short and sweet. Can you tell me more? And this halfling sort of like scoots around and down the table. It's a younger woman, leather armor with a really, really well-worn and traveled cloak. And you can see that she's plopped open this almost as big as her torso, leather-bound journal. And already, just from like a quick look at it, you can see sketches of basically almost every single person at your table and some pieces done really quickly of some of the other tables and the room set up. You know what? We've got another description.
Ooh,
Lots of descriptions.
this
I
is
like it.
fun.
Yeah.
Aw. Kind of looks like Sally Fields if Sally Fields was tiny.
Wow, yeah.
Oh, yeah. She looks like she's got an instrument on her back.
Mm-hmm.
And a tiny knife.
What's up with her
Loot.
feet?
She's
What
a
about
halfling.
She
Wait,
Oh,
can you-
okay.
she
She
definitely
is.
has like a defensive stance.
This is just she's not like this now. It's just an
Yeah, yeah.
illustration.
And she's
like
holding a very big book.
Very large
Does
book.
she draw with a knife?
No.
Nice
Blonde.
yellow headband.
Is that a face tattoo of a tear?
I think that's an ink smudge.
Oh, I was going to say she's been to prison.
She
Can't kill the person.
She looks really determined and like she probably could have killed a person.
She has overlarge pantaloons, which is very funny.
And yeah, like practically dressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of Aladdin-y. With
Yeah.
the puffy
Okay.
pants.
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
Totally.
I can see that.
Yeah, short hair. I don't know, looks like nice lady.
Sweet headband.
Yeah.
So we don't have an instant hate relationship.
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
Wait, why are you wanting to know how to spell my name? Draw me over here.
Oh,
Who do you work for?
Oh, I just no. It's a perfectly acceptable question. I work for me, and hopefully whatever kingdom and charter I'm able to sign on to. My name's Lindsay, Linzi.
Oh, I already got it.
Oh, nice.
She's a halfling.
Yes, I'm a storyteller, and I don't know.
Oh.
Even just in the way you described yourself, I feel like I could start hearing the story, and I just whatever it is that happens, I'm sure everyone who sits at the table in these rooms here will have such a story to tell one day, and perhaps I'll get a chance to be a part of it.
Well, not surprising that people would tell a story about me, I suppose. But if you could just keep that drawing and description of me to a very tight circle, that would much be appreciated.
Oh, these are all just my notes. Perhaps one day when the stories grow famous, they'll be, the basis for illustrations or embroidery of tapestries like these here on the walls. But no. For now, they're just what help keep me company on the road.
Do
So-
you have any stories that we might know? Any works you are famous for?
Oh no, none yet. I have a few favorites, but I'm still piecing together my own parts. Now, keep in mind we have these mechanics. If anyone's interested in making a discovery roll or a impression roll, call for that.
So, what noble house are you from?
Oh, I'm from no noble house at all.
Oh, great.
Are you? Sorry, I didn't mean to offend.
No. Don't worry about it. No,
Well-
you're not offending me. No noble house here either.
Ari will pour her more of a drink.
Oh, and she has this big smile on, like as you sort of just seem to treat her like a person a little bit. Do you have any favorite stories, though? I'm always looking for a good one.
Yeah,
Well-
Master has many great stories in his tome, but
Oh.
I believe that would make me very boring at this table, maybe even more so than I've already been.
Well,
So I would defer to you.
I will say, if there's one thing I like, it's spinning a tale. So let me just begin. And he will go off on the most random, very hard to follow story that is kind of about him, but you're really not even really sure what's happening.
Also, you should check out the one about the Conqueror War. Just saying.
I heard about that.
Yeah,
I didn't think that was true.
it may not be, but
I hear tales that it was all just an inside coup from the Revolutionary Council, but it's just the rumors that have worked their way up here in the years since.
Galt is definitely rampant with issues.
Thank God we're not over there, right?
Trent, go ahead and give me an influence check as you're sort of telling this story. What do you think would be, what skill you want to use here?
How about we use performance?
Oh, perfect. Delighting her artistic sense. Go ahead and take Go ahead and take a +2 on this as you're sort of
Ooh.
playing up your heroic deeds in nature as
Okay.
someone who's so into that.
All right. Ooh, that's a 23.
That's a critical success.
Oh, baby.
She's like, oh. And she just like is taking notes and talking with you. And it's not just listening, like it's in a very engaging conversation. So usually I'm a big fan of trying to find the cliffhanger. But I'm really thinking that as Lindsay's beginning to record down her story, let's close the page on this, our first episode of ours. Tune in next week to find out what happens next, who else the party will meet, and what danger waits around the corners.
All
Will
right.
they like Nikolai?
Party.
You'll find out.
The Live to Die podcast is a production of Live to Die Gaming. Follow us on social media at Live to Die Pod. Leave a review and tune in next week for more. If you like the amazing background audio and music, all that credit goes to Syrinscape. Make sure you check them out at Syrinscape.com.